Hey you guys, so I'm back again with another message. And God dropped this in my this message in my spirit while I was meditating. And like when you get to a place of healing and when you get to a place of growth, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you will realize how things was just not meant to be. Like it just wasn't meant to be. It was not meant to be. And God had dropped this in my spirit because, like, sometimes when I'm meditating, God will, like, show me how far I came and where I'm going and where I came from. And I used to be in a place where I used to just, like, question myself when relationships and things didn't work out. But now I'm just to the point to where I realize it wasn't meant to be. You know, sometimes when we are going through different phases and like you've been through a lot of things and not really completely healed, um but you'll tend to place the blame on you. You tend to blame um everything, put the blame on you about every little thing. Or maybe it was something that I did wrong, or maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I'm not worthy. Like that low vibrational energy, that unhealed, broken person that need to go somewhere to be healed. And um maybe I did something to where the person didn't like me. You got to understand that sometimes it just wasn't meant to be. Sometimes people rejecting you, it's a part of your purpose. um some people aren't meant to be in your life for a lifetime. Some people are meant to be in your life for only a season. So it just wasn't meant to be. That job opportunity just wasn't meant to be. It was just to get you to a certain point for you to elevate to the next. That relationship wasn't meant to be because it was draining you. It was not of God. It was not helping you walk and fulfill your purpose. It was causing you to live a life of sin. It wasn't meant to be. And so we had to understand that certain things in our life, it just wasn't meant to be. And we had to stop placing blame on ourselves. We had to stop beating ourselves up because it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. Your failed marriage was not your fault. It just wasn't meant to be. That person was just not meant for you. That person was not who God has ordained for you. It wasn't meant to be. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You can be the right person, everything to a person, but that person will be the wrong person for you. You can be right, a good thing to a wrong person, and it just wasn't meant to be because that's not your person. That's not who God had in store for you. And so by default, that person is supposed to reject you because that's not the person that you're supposed to be with. That's not the person that God has spiritually ordained for you to be with. When He created you and your spouse in mind when He created you. So when you're with someone else that's not part of your purpose, the person that's not part of your purpose, they are supposed to reject you. It wasn't meant to be because that's not how God created it to be. Oh, that's not how God created who God created for you to be with. So sometimes, y'all, we got to understand it just wasn't meant to be. It just wasn't meant to be. And stop beating yourself up over it. That's why, y'all, it really pays for you at an early age to really get a relationship with God, to really get around people who want to see you win, who want to see you truly walk into your purpose, to have godly mentors, godly life coaches that are going to hold you accountable and let you know, like, hey, like, are you walking in your purpose? Are you doing what God has called you to do? Are you, you know, going and asking God, is this the person that you're supposed to be entertaining? Are you going and asking God, is this the job that you're supposed to be on? Are you doing what He has called you to do in this season? Because all this stuff ties into your purpose. And until you get it right, you're going to go to this cycle until you get it right. It's so important. But y'all, we have to realize that some things it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. That house that you thought that was going to be your forever home, and then God is telling you, nope, pack up, move, we're doing something else. Because it wasn't meant to be. That house was just only temporary, right? to get you to your next level. Um, with me, y'all. um, I had wanted a new car at one point. But granted, I was going through a lot. I was in, like I said, a toxic marriage. And during that time, me getting a new car, it wasn't meant to be. Why? Because me and my ex-husband, we wasn't on the same page when it comes to being financial. Like, and when you're with the wrong people, you can struggle financially. And so with that being said, it was just like I was in no financial position to get a car. No financial position to get a car. So the car, and I remember y'all, I remember me crying because I want another car so bad. And I remember me crying. I was at work crying. And mind you, I worked good jobs. I worked decent jobs to where it was just me. I could have afforded a car. But I cried. But during that time frame, me getting a car, it wasn't meant to be, because I was with somebody that was trying to financially drain me, right? And it wasn't until I left that man and being obedient, when God told me to leave, he was like, leave. Told me to leave. Y'all, I kid you not. After everything was finalized legally with that situation, and God did away with my marriage pretty much like it never happened, I kid you not, 2 or 3 days later, after everything was finalized, God told me, he said, go get you a car. I said, huh? He said, go get you a car. We got to understand that sometimes things just, it wasn't meant to be, because one, we're probably connected to somebody that we're not supposed to be connected to. Two, it might not be the right timing. And like I said, it was a struggle for me trying to get a car, trying to get a house while I was with this man. And then for me to leave and be obedient to God. And then when everything was finalized legally, God told me to go out and get the car, and I got a car. No problems. But when I was with him, I had problems getting things. And I was just like, Lord. So sometimes we have to understand and accept that it wasn't meant to be. It might not be your timing. You might be connected to the wrong people. You might not be fully walking in your purpose yet. It just wasn't meant to be. And you got to stop beating yourself up about the things that it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. And we got to understand that if it wasn't meant to be, God got something better. God got something greater in store. That car that I was crying over, that I had wanted, when God had sent me to the dealership to go get me another car, it was better than the car that I was crying over, that I had really wanted. So we had to understand, y'all, that God has greater things in store. We got to understand, y'all, that some things it just wasn't meant to be, because that's not what God had in store for you. That's God got greater for you. God got better for you. It wasn't meant to be. And this is for relationships. This is for the things that you've been praying and asking God for, whether it's the job, whether it's the cars, whether it's the home, whether it's the finances. Sometimes we got to understand that some things it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. And to stop beating yourself up and blaming yourself for the things that it just wasn't meant to be. What God has for you is for you. And if some things it just wasn't meant to be. That's not what God wants for you. God has greater. God has better. And so accept that and stop beating yourself up about the things that it just wasn't meant to be. Okay? I love you. I pray that you all have an amazing day. And I will chat with you all later.